What's wrong with Triss? Triss is pretty great. Thanks for the sub, Frosty Foliage.
Up and at 'em, lazy mingers! You'll sleep when you're dead!
Nothing like a dwarf to get you to a tight spot.
Herald. What do I even take Herald to mean? I mean, it has to be some kind of Axeman deck. He could, in theory, have Vabjorn. This would be the deck for Ida, basically. Or the matchup for Ida, rather. Ida's honestly not a bad card. I could very much consider adding her back. Are there any bodies that damage 6 to deal with Savage Bear? Madman Lugos. Also, just double cross your pulls Dennis before anything else. Barclay Elves is probably the play here. Barclay Elves is very potent. Let's just open with Barclay.
We'll win.
Has a high chance for value. Its worst case scenario is still pretty good. 50-50 to pull a silver. Barclay is pretty great for these scenarios where you haven't drawn your other silver dwarfs. Whiff to the 50-50.
They used tired my tongue about that.
But it's still a very powerful play. 24 points in one move. Barclay in this case ended up representing 13. So now I need the Dennis Cranmer, otherwise my defenders are at risk of dying immediately, which is not something I want. There's a consideration to lock that with Ciaran. The question is whether I'd rather lock that or an Axeman. I'd probably rather lock an Axeman. I mean, bears are kind of cute, but they're not really that annoying, all things considered. So, bought the Cranmer here, and the Cranmer will buff my defenders up 1, and 1 point will increase their survivability a little bit. How much worse do I think dwarfs are with Ithlin and Horn? Not actually that much worse. It's a serious consideration, honestly. I'm thinking about Ithlin and Horn. I think it is less consistent, ultimately. And I think if you want to push out round 1, it's better to do it with cards like Trappers. Perhaps. What if I just pass? I need to establish a board presence first. I feel like I am going to pass pretty early here, though. Honestly, his deck has no real way to combat this kind of pass, except for Igni. Igni would be a good way to combat this kind of pass, although presumably he would have already used it. He thought this was an all-in round 1 deck. Well, it is, but the important thing to realize is that even in this kind of deck, there are exceptions to that.
Might even be amusing.
There's a coral. Bring some more in line. Still pass? Maybe. It's still pretty hard for him to beat this in a single card. There's a consideration for arting here instead. I think I just art, honestly.
Let's get this over with.
Sweet. Round achieved. Art in this matchup doesn't achieve a really huge amount of value. He doesn't play very many units and there's nothing to set up. Achieving 12 value for a gold to force him out of round 1 is fine. Especially when it's not playing into the idea of him bearing my units down. Playing more aggressively here might actually end up making trappers better. So the question is... Marjo's pretty sweet. The question is how aggressively does he commit to this round? See, that's the thing. I mean, I know exactly how long this round is going to go, because I can decide how long this round is going to go. I open with my cards, and the question is, does he commit for a long round or a short round? If he commits for a long round, that means he's praying the bears right away, which he's not doing. So he's committing for a more short round. There's a consideration to pass already, but probably want at least one more defender. Presumably he will be able to stay ahead of me here. That'll do it. Although that does of course get CR'd here. There's kind of a consideration for Marjoing it instead. I mean, I do need something to block these. So that consideration is probably moot.
An ill wind blows.
Why not pass now? Because he's ahead of me. His Yen Khan hits my 5s and his X-Men grows by 2. He had 11 to my 7 there. He's no longer ahead of me. Now I can Marjo that one. It's pretty committal to use Marjo here though. A better play is likely to pass. This is probably the best pass I'm gonna get. Although, what if it's not? I think it might not be.
Wow.
He has a kind of cute herald here. He's gonna need to use it pretty early though. He can't be very greedy with it.
By the rates of Morhog.
That's kind of cute. I guess you have to run that if you're gonna run a Herald.
What? No! How?
If I Marjo, he Heralds, and that's not a good trade for me. Should be my pass. Appreciate my machine deck. It's really funny. I like the machine's archetype. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of that deck personally. The Witchers really tie it together in a really nice way. He whiffed his Herald. That was kind of his chance to Herald. It's gone now. The question is, am I afraid of Igni? The answer is, I don't necessarily have to even know, do I? And when I can avoid that Herald with my Zoltan Shiva, and I've still got one more clear for the eventual weather. So the better play here is probably to Zoltan Shiva. I actually want to put it in this row though. If I play this Trapper, he's going to Herald me. He's going to see that it's his last opportunity to Herald and take it. Am I actually Marjoraming my own defenders? I think I actually might be. I mean, what does an Axeman represent here, honestly? Not much, right?
Nigh is the time of the white frost and white light.
Yeah, it's probably for the best anyway. It's pretty funny. Okay.
That was actually rather impressive. Congratulations.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone. Jorveth will avenge us, Dwan!
Our shields are our ramparts! Give them no rest, no reprieve!
This is elven land.
So I lost off that,
on which your kind dies.
lost off the Ithlin. Wonder if it's my clients or if it's the server that's lagging like that. Not 100% sure. Think that deck is worth buying into, yeah. How did the second one only hit one dwarf? Because the Ithlin randomly targets units on my side, and it targeted the second tourist unit that it could have targeted, and then it targeted the worst unit that it could have targeted, which is Zoltan Shiva.
To arms! All of yous!
He probably wouldn't have shown me his last card. I kind of wanted to see if I was going to win that game. Is there anything to even change about the deck, though? I don't think there is... I don't think there's an additional consideration.